For most of human history, the formula for a successful life was brutally simple and entirely non-negotiable. You wake up early. You commute to a place you despise. You trade the best hours of your day, your prime physical years, and your mental energy to a corporation that views you as a line item on a spreadsheet. You do this for 40 or 50 years. You save a tiny fraction of your income. And then, when your hair is gray, your joints ache, and your energy is depleted, you are finally granted a reward. You get to retire. You get to rest. We call this the American dream. We call it the responsible path. We call it the safe route. But what if this entire paradigm is a psychological trap? What if the safe route is actually the most dangerous gamble you can make with your one, fleeting, non-renewable life? What if the people who follow the rules are not actually building a life, but merely deferring it? In 2007, a former kickboxing champion and neuroscience researcher named Tim Ferriss published a book that shattered the corporate matrix and sparked a global revolution. He called it the 4-Hour Workweek. But do not let the provocative title fool you. This is not a book about laziness. It is not a guide on how to sit on a couch and do nothing. It is a profound, highly systematic, and deeply psychological manifesto on how to reclaim your time, escape the invisible chains of the 9 to 5, and design a life of absolute freedom on your own terms. Ferriss didn't write this book because he wanted to work less. He wrote it because he realized that the traditional model of trading time for money was a fundamentally broken game. He saw that the new rich, a specific class of people he identified, were not playing by the old rules. They had hacked the system. They had figured out how to decouple their income from their time, how to automate their businesses, and how to live like millionaires without actually having $1 million in the bank. Today, we are going to dive deep into this paradigm-shifting masterpiece. We will break down the deal framework, definition, elimination, automation, and liberation. We will dismantle the myth of the deferrers, master the psychology of extreme productivity, and learn the exact blueprint to build an automated income stream that pays you while you sleep. This is not just a financial strategy. It is a complete rewiring of how you view time, money, and freedom. To understand the 4-Hour Workweek, you must first understand the fundamental shift in how you define wealth. Ferriss introduces a critical distinction between being rich and being the new rich, NR. Being rich is simply a mathematical equation. It means you have a high income or a high net worth. But here is the brutal truth. You can be a multimillionaire and still be a slave. If you make $1 million a year, but you have to work 80 hours a week, endure a toxic boss, miss your children's birthdays, and constantly stress about maintaining your status, you are not rich. You are just a highly paid prisoner. Your wealth has come at the cost of your time, your health, and your freedom. The new rich, on the other hand, do not measure wealth in dollars. They measure wealth in time and mobility. For the NR, wealth is the ability to control your schedule. It is the ability to wake up without an alarm clock. It is the ability to work from anywhere in the world. It is the ability to say no to things you don't want to do. The new rich trade cash for time. They understand that money is infinitely renewable, but time is strictly finite. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Therefore, the ultimate goal of life is not to accumulate as many zeros in a bank account as possible. The goal is to maximize your freedom and your experiences. This shift in perspective is what Ferriss calls lifestyle design. Most people design their lives around their work. They figure out what their job requires, and they squeeze their life into the margins. The new rich design their work around their life. They decide exactly what they want their ideal day to look like, where they want to live, what they want to do, who they want to be with, and then they reverse engineer a business or a career that supports that exact lifestyle. Work becomes a tool to facilitate the life, not the other way around. Once you have redefined wealth and embraced lifestyle design, you must move to the first step of the deal framework, definition. This is where you set the exact parameters of your freedom. You must calculate your dreamline. What does your ideal life actually cost? Most people have no idea. They just think they need a lot of money. But when you sit down and calculate the exact cost of your dream car, your dream house, your dream vacations, and your ideal monthly expenses, you usually arrive at a number that is far lower than you thought. Often, it is a number that can be generated by a single, well-optimized automated business. When you define the exact target, the mountain suddenly looks climbable. But before you can build the system that achieves this target, you must conquer the second step, elimination. This is where Ferriss delivers his most counterintuitive attack on modern productivity. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. We brag about how little sleep we get and how many hours we work. But Ferriss argues that time management is a complete illusion if you are spending your time on the wrong things. Being efficient at doing things that don't matter is the ultimate waste of time. To eliminate the trivial, you must master two fundamental laws of the universe. The first is the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. This principle states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In your business, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. In your work, 80% of your impact comes from 20% of your tasks. Yet, most people spend the vast majority of their day focused on the 80% of trivial tasks that only yield 20% of the results. They answer endless emails, attend pointless meetings, and obsess over minor details. The new rich ruthlessly audit their lives. They identify the critical 20% that actually moves the needle, and they mercilessly cut, delegate, or ignore the rest. The second law is Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you give yourself a week to write a report, it will take you a week. You will procrastinate, you will overthink, and you will fill the time with busy work. But if you give yourself only 2 hours to write that exact same report, you will focus entirely on the essential elements, you will eliminate the fluff, and you will get it done. Ferriss argues that you must artificially shrink your working time to force yourself to be effective. He introduces the concept of the low information diet. We are constantly bombarded by news, social media, and irrelevant information that triggers our anxiety and drains our focus. Ferriss challenges you to cut it all out. Stop reading the daily news. Stop checking your email every 5 minutes. Only consume information that is immediately actionable and directly relevant to your goals. By eliminating the noise, you reclaim your most valuable asset, your attention. Once you have eliminated the trivial and focused only on the critical 20%, you move to the third, and most famous, step of the framework, automation. This is the engine of the 4-hour workweek. This is how you divorce your income from your time. To automate your life, you must stop being a consumer and become a producer. You must build what Ferriss calls a muse. A muse is an automated business designed to generate a steady, predictable stream of passive income with minimal ongoing maintenance. It is not a startup designed to take over the world. It is not a passion project designed to change society. It is a highly focused, highly profitable, highly boring machine that prints money while you sleep. Building a muse requires a very specific, step-by-step process. First, you must choose a niche. Do not follow your passion, follow the market. You are looking for a niche that is underserved, where people are already spending money, and where you can add a unique angle. It could be a specific type of tea, a specialized ergonomic pillow, or a niche supplement. Second, you must test the product before you build it. Most entrepreneurs make the fatal mistake of spending 6 months and $50,000 manufacturing a product, only to launch it and realize nobody wants it. Ferriss teaches you to test the market first. You set up a simple, professional-looking landing page. You run a small amount of targeted advertising. You see if people actually click buy. If they don't, you kill the idea and move on. You have lost nothing but a few dollars in ad spend. If they do click buy, you have validated the market. Only then do you proceed. Third, you must outsource your life. The new rich do not do everything themselves. They use the power of global labor arbitrage. You hire a virtual assistant, VA, from countries with a lower cost of living, like the Philippines or India. For a few dollars an hour, you can hire highly educated, English-speaking professionals to handle your email, your customer service, your research, and your administrative tasks. You must learn to let go of your ego and trust others to execute your systems. Fourth, you must automate the fulfillment. You do not pack boxes in your garage. You use a dropshipping model or a third-party fulfillment center. When a customer orders from your website, the order is automatically routed to the manufacturer, who ships it directly to the customer. You never touch the product. You never see the inventory. The entire transaction happens while you are sitting on a beach in Thailand, or sleeping in your own bed. This brings us to one of the most powerful, life-altering concepts in the entire book, geo-arbitrage. The global economy is vastly unequal. The value of a currency depends entirely on where you are spending it. If you earn a modest income in US dollars, you are middle class in New York or London. But if you take that exact same US dollar income and relocate to a country with a lower cost of living, like Argentina, Vietnam, or Colombia, you instantly become a king. Your purchasing power multiplies by 3, 4, or 5 times. You can afford a luxury penthouse, daily massages, eating out at incredible restaurants every night, and a personal driver, all for the price of a studio apartment in San Francisco. Geo-arbitrage is the ultimate life hack. It allows you to live like a millionaire without having to be a millionaire. But to truly enjoy this automated, geo-arbitraged life, you must conquer the final, and often the most terrifying, step, liberation. This is about escaping the physical office and breaking the chains of the 9 to 5. Most people are terrified of quitting their jobs. They are paralyzed by the fear of the unknown. They have been conditioned to believe that a steady paycheck is the only thing standing between them and total ruin. Ferriss does not tell you to just rage quit and walk out. He gives you a strategic, calculated blueprint to escape. First, you must make yourself indispensable. You do this by applying the 80-20 rule to your job. Find the 20% of your tasks that generate 80% of the value for your boss, and become absolutely brilliant at them. Once you have proven your immense value, you gain leverage. Then, you propose a remedy. You ask to test a remote work arrangement for a specific, short period. You show your boss exactly how you will maintain or increase your output while working from home 2 days a week. When you prove that you are more productive outside the office, you gradually increase the remote days until you are fully remote. Once you are fully remote, you have achieved liberation. You can now apply geo-arbitrage and work from anywhere in the world. If your boss refuses, if they demand you sit in a cubicle simply for the sake of control, then you have your answer. You use the income from your automated muse to fund your escape, and you walk away. You realize that the job was never actually safe. The only true safety is having a skill, a system, and the courage to walk away. Once you are liberated, Ferriss introduces the concept of mini-retirements. The traditional model of retirement is a massive, deferred reward at the end of a long, exhausting life. But by the time you reach 65, your health is declining, and your energy is gone. What is the point of a reward you are too tired to enjoy? Instead of one massive retirement at the end, the new rich take mini-retirements throughout their lives. They take 6 months off to travel the world. They relocate to a foreign country for a year to learn a new language and immerse themselves in a new culture. They sprinkle these periods of deep, restorative rest throughout their 30s, 40s, and 50s. They realize that life is not a sprint to the finish line, it is a long, beautiful journey that should be experienced in real time. A mini-retirement is not a vacation. A vacation is just a brief escape from a life you hate. A mini-retirement is a complete immersion into a life you love. As we conclude this deep exploration of the 4-hour workweek, it is vital to understand what Tim Ferriss is truly teaching you. He is not teaching you how to be lazy. He is teaching you how to be intentional. The traditional 9 to 5 requires a massive amount of mindless, grinding effort. Building an automated business requires a massive amount of intense, focused effort up front. The difference is that the traditional path demands your effort forever, while the fast lane path demands your effort temporarily, in exchange for a lifetime of freedom. The ultimate currency of your life is not the dollar. It is your time. Every hour you spend doing work you hate, for a boss you don't respect, to buy things you don't need, is an hour you are stealing from your own life. You are trading your finite, irreplaceable existence for pieces of paper. The 4-hour workweek asterisk is a mirror. It forces you to look at your daily routine and ask the most uncomfortable question of all: am I building a life, or am I just deferring it? You have the power to change the paradigm. You have the power to eliminate the trivial, automate the essential, and liberate your time. You do not have to wait until you are 65 to live the life you want. You can design it right now. You can build the system. You can reclaim your freedom. Thank you for joining this journey into the architecture of a liberated life. If this framework resonates with you, if it challenges you to stop trading your time for pennies and start designing your dream life, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, wealth is not just money, it is time, it is mobility, and it is freedom. Go forth, define your dream line, eliminate the noise, automate your income, and claim the life you were meant to live.